If you've played Dungeons & Dragons long enough, you've probably heard some horror stories about bad dungeon masters. Most DMs are great, they spend hours preparing worlds, stories, and adventures for their players. But sometimes a DM can make mistakes that infuriate the table and ruin the experience. Now, being a DM isn't easy. You're running the world, the monsters, the story, and the rules all at once. But there are a few warning signs that show when a DM might be doing more harm than good. So today we're going to be going through 10 signs of a bad DM, and more importantly, how these problems can be avoided so everyone at the table has a better game. Number 1, railroading. Railroading happens when a player is given choices but their decisions don't actually matter. D&D is supposed to be a world of endless possibilities where players can go anywhere and shape the story. Some DMs plan the path ahead and even the ending before the campaign even begins. So no matter what the player decide, the DM pushes them right back to the same path, steering the story in one direction. Eventually the players realize their choices don't actually change anything, and that's when frustration starts to grow. Here's a tip for DMs: if you have a great scene you really want to happen, don't force the players to go somewhere to see it. Instead, move the scene to them. Maybe that important NPC conversation that was supposed to happen in the tavern, but the party skips the town and goes straight to the cave. That's fine. The same NPC could appear on the road, outside the cave, or anywhere the party travels. Don't force players to the story, let the story find the players. Number 2, DM versus players. One of the biggest red flags is when the DM treats the game like a DM versus the players. I've heard horror stories when a DM gets bored and just TPKs the entire party for no reason. Now, death should absolutely be a factor in D&D. If the dice go badly in a tough fight, that's not the DM's fault, that's just luck of the dice. But some DMs think their job is to kill the players, and that completely misses the point of the game. I've even heard players say things like, next campaign when I'm DM, I'm just gonna kill all of you. Why would anyone want to play a game where the DM is the enemy? A good DM challenges the players, but they're also there to make the heroes shine. You care about the villains, you run the monsters, but at the end of the day, you're impartial to both sides because you're the one who created the world they're playing in. Number 3, ignoring backstories. Some DMs create a campaign that completely ignores the players' backstories. But if a player tells you their character is an elf from a noble family, then that should exist in the world. Maybe an elven kingdom, a noble estate, servants, guards, and rivals. These details are story hooks just waiting to be used. As a DM, you're only one mind, but the party together is like a mind flayer's elder brain. Everyone contributing ideas to the story. So why ignore that? When players help shape the world with their backstories, it actually becomes less work for the DM. And the more their ideas appear in the game, the more invested they become in the story. If you've ever experienced one of these at the table, let me know in the comments. Number 4, a DMPC. A DMPC is when the DM creates a powerful NPC that travels with the party and solves every problem. If the party wasn't even there, the same outcome would happen. And that's a problem. The players should be the ones defeating monsters, beasts, and dragons, and they are the heroes of the story. NPCs should exist as side characters, guides, allies, merchants, or quest givers, not the main character. And remember, if you're the DM, you're not a player. The moment you start playing a character like the rest of the party, you lose your impartial role as the storyteller and the referee of the world. Number 5, no session 0. Session 0 is the foundation of a campaign. It's where the party first meets each other. The DM explains the house rules, the boundaries and expectations, and everyone understands the tone of the game. Maybe the campaign is about pirates, politics, or dark fantasy. Players should know that before the session begins. Without a session 0, small problems start to appear later. Misunderstandings about rules, character behavior, or themes can quickly turn into conflicts at the table. But if you establish these things early, the DM has clear authority under the gavel, and hopefully you'll never even need to use it. Number 6, punishing creativity. One of the worst things a DM can do is punish player creativity. Imagine the party is facing a big villain, the BBEG, and they've come up with a really clever way to defeat them. Instead of rewarding that idea, the DM suddenly adds something new that wasn't there before just to stop it. Some DMs take clever plans personally, like the players are attacking their story. But creativity is exactly what D&D is about. If your players come up with a brilliant way to defeat your villain, let it happen. And remember, villains can always return later with a warning. You may have beaten me today, but I'll be back. Number 7, playing favorites. Some DMs only focus on one player at the table. It's usually like their best friend. That player's backstory gets all the attention, they find the best loot, their ideas always work, and somehow they always seem to have advantage. Meanwhile, the rest of the table starts to feel ignored and unimportant. D&D is about teamwork and shared storytelling, not special treatment. When you sit behind the screen, you have to stay impartial, because once you become the DM, you're no longer just another player. You're the creator of the world, and everyone at the table deserves an equal place in it. Number 8, rule tyrant. Every DM is different. Some know the rules, some are still learning the rules, and some only care about the rules. These are the rule tyrants, DMs who never allow the rule of cool. Sometimes the player wants to do something cinematic, explosive, or completely badass, even if it's not exactly written in the book. Outside of combat especially, those moments can become the most memorable parts of a campaign. The best thing a DM can do is let it happen, because at the end of the day, the story always comes before the rules. Rules are just there as guidelines. In fact, in my very first game, we barely knew any rules, and we played for 8 hours straight, and it ended up being one of the most legendary sessions I've ever had. Number 9, killing players unfairly. Sometimes as a DM, you miscalculate an encounter. Maybe the creature's challenge rating looked fine, but once the fight started, it's doing huge damage and the party can barely scratch it. When that happens, the best thing to do is to adjust the situation. Maybe you quietly reduce the creature's hit points, limit its damage, or introduce something new. Another monster appears and the two start fighting, or an ally joins the battle. But some DMs refuse to adjust anything, and they just keep the onslaught going until it ends in a total party kill. And sometimes it's even worse. A DM might punish a player without reason, like cutting off a character's arm without even a dice roll. That's not fair. As a DM, your job is to think on the fly. There's a reason we sit behind the screen. Players don't see monster hit points or damage numbers. If a fight becomes too deadly, scale it back quietly. The players will never know, and the battle will still feel epic and legendary. And if something serious happens to a character, it should always be because of their choices and the dice, not because the DM decided it. And lastly, number 10, it's not just the DM story. Some DMs spend days, weeks, or even months crafting a story for their campaign, and that's great. Preparation is the best part of being a good DM. But sometimes those DMs start to believe it's their story alone. And it's not. A D&D campaign is created by the players' actions, their ideas, and the outcomes of the dice. In movies and TV shows, the writer controls every character and every event. But D&D has something special that no other medium could replicate: a shared storytelling experience. An author only has one mind and one perspective, but at a D&D table, you have multiple players all bringing their own ideas and viewpoints. That's what makes the story so unpredictable and exciting. A D&D story doesn't belong to the DM, it belongs to everyone sitting at the table, because every player has an equal part in creating it. At the end of the day, most bad DMs aren't bad people. They're usually just inexperienced, overwhelmed, or still learning the role. Being a dungeon master is one of the most creative, rewarding parts of Dungeons & Dragons, but it also comes with a lot of responsibility. The goal is never to beat the players, it's to create an unforgettable story together. If you enjoyed this video or found it helpful, like the video and share it with your DM or your party. And if you want more tips, stories, and lessons from behind the screen, subscribe to The Honest DM. I'll see you at the next adventure.